after 8 seasons of this series, we're finally having a game today that I thought there have been a number of times where I thought this match might never happen. But finally, we take little old Nuneaton against my favourite club, Peterborough United, in a league match. And goodness me, am I excited about it. Hello and welcome to part 77 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're at home against Posh and then away against Oldham, both in League One. Since you were last with me, form has been pretty solid again. There's just been the one defeat against Exeter. We've got through to the next round of both of the cups though. So we've got an FA Cup third round tie that looks winnable, and we're into the New Year. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how the Checker Trade Trophy is structured these days. Back in the olden days, that would be almost the final. So it's not. What a stupid competition that is. But either way, the league is looking really quite delightful at the moment. 21 games in. So now closing in on the halfway point of the season. At the end of this episode, we will have hit the halfway point. We're well ahead of the Kev ratio. 27 points from those first 21 games. 6 points clear of relegation. Everything is looking good. Skelton's one of the best players in the division. Man United still won't lend him to me for next season as well. I think this is going to be the final year of Andrew Skelton, and really he is too good for us. Unless we have a massive surge towards the playoffs and somehow get promoted again, we will be saying goodbye to him, which is a shame, and we will miss him massively. Someone else who will be sorely missed. I know I said I'd never talk about him again on the channel, but I think we do need to just take a moment to pay our respects to Cedwyn Scott. He's not dead, but he has retired from professional football, aged 27, having not been able to find a club after storming out of us in a huff last summer, scoring a goal every other game throughout his 7-year Nuneaton career. We tried to sign him, re-sign him, as recently as like 6 weeks ago. We tried to keep him at the club and he wouldn't sign a new contract. We tried to bring him back 2 or 3 times. He would not come back. All because of that nonsense back down when we were in non-league, where he wanted automatic promotion and we only got promoted by the playoffs, and he was grumpy from that moment on. What a waste of a career. I don't know why no one else signed him. I don't know why he wouldn't come back to us, but he's done. He's probably working in Asda now. This is the team that we're putting out there for the Posh game. We've got Nadat in goal. Back 4 of Anderson, Sawyer, Redhead and Ibrahim. There is a lot of interest in Joshua Sawyer, by the way. I know we've been talking about selling him to balance the books for a few years now. I think this transfer window might be the time he goes. I've set his asking price at $500,000. $500,000 clears the debt that we've got and gives us a chunk of money to play with as well. So I think if we can get $500,000 from anybody for him, that would be good. But there is some interest in Ibrahim as well. But I think that's loan interest. But actually, no, there are clubs who actually want to pay money for him. I think we need to stick an asking price on Ibrahim as well, who has had a fairly average season since arriving, but clearly there's something seen in him. James Ball is also wanted by some bigger clubs. So there is interest in some of our players. I hope we keep the squad together through January. If we just sell Sawyer, I can live with that because we've got Laskowski, we've got Burns. There's other options to come in at centre-back, and there's other lads waiting to come through as well. So Sawyer is one we can afford to lose. Ball, not so much, especially as we're already looking at a future without Andrew Skelton in it. And I think once we do secure safety this season, we'll probably transition him out of the team if we can't get United to agree to let him keep us at that point, because I want to learn to play at League One level without Andrew Skelton. Not now though, game. Do not injure him now, please. We've got Squire, Bill, Johnson and Skelton in midfield, and then Ball in behind a reunited Fisher and McDonald. This is only the 3rd time Dan Fisher and Josh McDonald have played together up front in League One. They're both fit again. Hopefully Fisher's already established himself as a striker at this level, and hopefully McDonald can now go on to do the same, because if we can get that partnership working in League One, that push to the playoffs that we talked about might not be as unrealistic as you would think, because if the two of them start scoring goals at the same sort of rate they were scoring them last season, I'd expect to win a lot of games in the second half of the season, even in a world that might not have Joshua Sawyer in it, if he does depart for big money. Is there anyone I recognise in the Posh team? There isn't. I mean, we are 8 years in the future, but they've not got a single player left who was around at the start of the save. Obviously, we've still got Sir Tom Elliott. He's not in the team. But he's still at the club. He's the only one we've got left at this point. And I guess, massive clubs aside, that is going to be the situation at most teams that we come up against in the save now. Because we are getting to the point where we're so far into the future. Anyone who was any good at this level has moved on to a higher level. And anyone who wasn't any good has long since pulled a Sedwin and decided they'd be better off working in a bar. Right, Johnson, over to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, a lovely ball forward to McDonald. Josh McDonald hits the inside of the post. So close, tantalisingly close to McDonald getting his first goal at this level. Remember, McDonald was the man 2 years ago. He's been outshined a little bit by Dan Fisher for a year and a half now, but it seems to be the way of things with Nuneaton strikers in this save. They come on in sort of waves. They all peak at different times. We saw with Sedwin Scott, he'd have good seasons and bad seasons. Mason would be up and down. Even Fisher didn't come in as the prolific scorer that he then turned into, and he drifted off a bit earlier this season. So I think we're due Josh McDonald exploding with a whole load of goals again. James Ball was properly injured, and we don't have anyone who can play in that position. Aside from Fisher and McDonald, if you cast your mind way, way back to when we first signed those two on loan, we originally signed them on loan, not to come in and play as strikers, but they were... Oh, for God's sake. I told you not now, game! It's like it... Oh, yeah, only a twisted ankle, so it's not going to be a long-term thing, hopefully. But goodness me. And we're going to make this change as well. I was yakking on about it, so let's just make it. The gist of what I was saying was those two were both signed to offer competition to James Ball as attacking midfielders, so they can both play there. They're not natural there, they're natural strikers, which is why they've scored so many goals over the years. But they can both play as attacking midfielders as well. So we'll drop McDonald back. And now McDonald's injured as well. So Dan Fisher's probably going to have to drop back into the hole now. Any time now as well, because we can't afford to be carrying injured players, especially as we're now 1-0 down. Remember, this isn't a game we're supposed to win. Posh are a big club. You know, we're probably the biggest club outside the Premier League. They're a big club. And, oh, that's a beautiful sky. I just got distracted by the beautiful colour of that sky. Well done, Football Manager, on your skies. I don't really want to make my third substitution right now, but McDonald is just on his way back from injury and has now taken a knock. And we have got Weaver on the bench, who has plenty of goals in him. If we drop Fisher back and do that... I mean, we could even do this front three that I hear about as being overpowered. I just don't really know how to combine it. Should we do a front three? Let's do a front three and see what happens. I can hear you all telling me to do it. I don't really know what you're supposed to do to break the game, but I love breaking games. So let's just make you all... Should we make them all that? You're supposed to do complete forward on attack, aren't you? But none of these can play as a complete forward. So let's make them all advanced forwards and see what happens. I mean, this is going to be an absolute disaster. I know it is. And on the flip side, if we win 4-1 now, the temptation to do this forevermore is always going to be there. And who wants to watch a series where I break the game and just use an exploit tactic? Weaver, in behind, cross to Fisher. Fisher misses a big, big chance. I think I'm fair to try and exploit the game in this game because the game itself punished me for talking about Skelton and then getting Ball injured and just generally injuries. I've been punished with unnecessary injuries in today's game, so I'm going to punish the game back again by trying to destroy its match engine. It's not really working the way I'd hoped though, and Posh now coming at us again, and Sawyer intercepts. Oh, we're going to miss him, but no one's going to give us £500,000 for him. He'll be here forevermore. But Lyons picks up the ball, plays it through to Fisher. Can he score this time? He misses again. That's two massive misses from Dan Fisher in the last 20 minutes of this game. We're actually being mugged at the moment. We've had 3 clear-cut chances to their 1, and we're losing 1-0. It seems we've all decided to bottle it today because Posh is such a big club. Lyons squares it to Weaver, who should have scored. That's 4 clear-cut chances now. I mean, we're certainly creating some chances with this front three, but none of them have decided today's the day they're going to score a goal. It's ridiculous. Weaver drops deep now. Ball over to the top to Fisher. Lyons is there to support, but Fisher misses yet another clear-cut chance. We've now had 5 clear-cut chances in this match and not scored a goal. Weaver is in behind again. Squares it to Lyons. 6, surely, clear-cut chances. Is that one not gone down? That's not even gone down as a half chance. Felt like a good chance to me. Straight at their keeper. I mean, we have missed some chances in this game. They're going to go and grab their second now, aren't they? And this is Nadat with a brilliant save, because he's Robbie Nadat, and that's what he does. Can't believe we've not found a way back into this game in this second half. It is ridiculous. We have been absolutely rampant going forward, but haven't had any kind of end product. And look at the calibre of striker that we've got. There's goals in all of them. I can't believe that we've missed so many chances. I'm actually quite impressed that we've created as many as we've created. It shows that it kind of does break the match engine a little bit, but clearly not enough to cause those strikers to actually finish some of the chances that are created. So now we go to a promotion chasing Oldham to try and grab a win on this episode. Well, Skelton's out for 4 to 8 weeks. Thanks, Sports Interactive. Thanks, Football Manager. Thanks, Squire Bell comes in for him. Ball is now fit-ish, so he's going to stay in the team. Weaver comes back in for McDonald, though, because McDonald picked up that knock in the last game. Again, fit-ish, but wasn't particularly impressive in that last game. We actually started to look a lot better going forward when we had the 3 of Weaver, Fisher and Lyons. So Lyons probably feeling a little hard done by that he's the one who misses out, despite being our top scorer so far this season. But I don't know, he just feels a little bit too poachery for me. He doesn't really get involved in the game other than converting chances, and I want a little bit more than that from my strikers, and I think both Weaver and Fisher offer us a little bit more. If they both draw blanks again today, then Lyons comes in for the next game for sure, because you know, I can be fussy to a point, but every time I threaten to drop Dan Fisher, he comes and scores a goal. This is what happened in the last episode as well. I think I just need to start every match with a speech about how, it's Dan Fisher's last game for the club. He's really not looked good. I feel a Sedwin Scott in his future, and then he'll just come and score. So there you go, 1-0 up against Oldham. Remember, Oldham, much better team than Posh are, but we're just that inconsistent. That's how we roll at the moment. So that would put us up to 14th place, hopefully nice and clear above my head now, just up there. Right, Fisher picks the ball up very deep. This is what Lyons doesn't really do, but I think Fisher should beat his man. He does. He should square it. He does. And Ball should have scored. I don't think Lyons creates that chance that Dan Fisher just created. So even when Fisher's not scoring goals, which as we've seen, he's already done today, but even when he's not scoring goals, I think the fact that he's got that in him means that he's probably a better bet. Have we just given away a penalty? I think we have, haven't we? Redhead with the foul. And come on, Robbie, we've seen you save penalties offline. Let's see if you can do it on camera as well. No, of course you can't. He's still my hero. Still, I mean, you can't blame Robbie Nadat for that. The blame there all goes on Redhead for giving the penalty away to begin with. Nadat sporting the short sleeve shirt. Is that a normal thing for Nadat? Sawyer's got a knock. I didn't notice him being that low on his physical condition before the match. Is that something that's happened in the match, or did I just not notice that when I was picking the team? And we have got Laskowski on the bench today, so if need be, we can bring Laskowski on. But I don't know what's happened to Sawyer there. I certainly don't want him to get a knock any time around now, because we're hoping to sell him, and if he's injured, we're not going to be able to sell him, so we need to protect him a little bit, because we do need the monies. There's been Premier League interest from Ibrahim now, so I've put his asking price at £1 million just to see what happens. Oh, Robbie. And now my battery's going to go as well. So hopefully the camera battery dies before we have to see the replay, because I don't really want to have to look. Oh, come on then. What actually happened? Oh, Robbie. Let's change that camera battery. Battery changed. Oh, it still counted then, did it? I was hoping by changing the battery the world would somehow cancel out that moment of utter incompetence. They're in again. Luckily, now that's there waving his arms around, so that's fine. I've tilted it down too far now. Come on, Kev. Learn to record a video. What just happened? Is Sawyer getting sent off now? Oh, wow. It's all going wrong today. Sawyer's sent off. At least we don't have to take him off now. That might be the last you see of him. He might be sold before the next episode now. His final contribution after what has been 150 games for the club. That might be the last you ever see of Joshua Sawyer. I think we probably take Ball off in these circumstances because he was injured anyway, so it just makes sense that he's the one who comes off. Oh, life without Skelton's not going to be fun. We've got to find a way to get promoted without him, so that we don't have to try and get promoted without him next year. I see what's happened there. We're not making our way back into this game. Oh, it's going to be one of those sorry episodes where we lose both matches, and that gap between us and the relegation places is now only down to 4 points. What a goal from Jay Johnson. Still the only player we've spent money on in the entire save. Was that a £5,000 goal? Look at this. This is just ridiculous. I don't understand how a player who can just drop into League One, aged, 23? How is he just sat in the Welsh League, aged 23? How can we only pick him up for £5,000 when he's capable of coming in at League One level and doing that? That was insane. What a goal. Right, let's go win this game now with 10 men. A real battling performance of awesomeness. That's an episode title. Battling performance of awesomeness. Weaver's been absolute trash today, so I'm bringing Lions on for him. Hold on, tactics screen. I still don't like this new screen. Lions can come on. Fisher can drop over there. We'll leave it as that for now. Oh, we had Burns on the bench as well. I mean, I wouldn't have brought him on ahead of Laskowski anyway, but Laskowski's now picked up a yellow card. Ibrahim's on a yellow card. We're surely not going to get another defender sent off, because it starts to border on the ridiculous when things like this start to gang up on you. They're in again. Nadat forces it wide with his mind the way only Robbie Nadat can. And I want to make a final substitution. I just don't really know what to do. What is a Wes Short? He's a winger. I mean, what use is he to me? So he's not coming on. Josh McDonald is sat there, but Fisher's having a good game. We've only just brought Lions on. There's no point changing the defenders over. I mean, I guess what we could do is bring Hudson on for Ibrahim. He can play right back. Ibrahim's on a yellow card, not having a great game. Seems like the sensible change, just to try and avoid that extra red card that we don't really want. I mean, a draw in this game, bearing in mind where Oldham are in the league, pushing for automatic promotion, a draw with more than half the game down to 10 men is a cracking result. Lions flicks it on, but Fisher's not there to chase forward. And this is dirty. To happen that late, that's properly dirty. With a minute to go. Yeah, I don't believe it either, Laskowski. I think that was offside as well. Let's have a little look at it from the other angle. I mean, 3-2, it's respectable. But, oh, that's offside. I know people are going to be tweeting little screenshots where they've drawn the line on themselves to show me why it's not. But that's offside. I don't care what the evidence says. That was offside. Miles offside as well. Halfway point of the season, 27 points. We'd have taken it at the start of the season. So, can't really complain. And hopefully now we get a massive cash offer for either Ibrahim or Sawyer. Or both. I don't mind selling them both. If we can get £1.5 million for the pair, we'd be set up for the next 2 seasons. That'd be amazing. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.